Hello, hello, hello. Today we're going to look at this. What is this, you might ask? It's another Mione phone. This one is the Mione Hero 3. I will be reviewing the Mione Hero 2, but this one I will review today. What can I say? First of all, Mione have let us all down again. They've lied about the specs. It's a real shame. They're taking their customers for idiots, and it's so easy to check the spec on these phones. It's unbelievable that they think that we're all idiots. Having said that, there are some good points to it, so we can get into it, but let me just read the specs on the back of the box because it's interesting. Here it says parameters, features full display, whatever that means, dual camera, Android 7, MTK 6737 quad core, 4G LTE. It says it's an LCD 5.72 HD LCD 18.9 full display. Camera, 5 in the front, 8 in the rear. Memory is 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB ROM with a 3800 mAh battery. dual SIM standby. Now it comes with silicone case. Also, it comes with the headphones and the ring finger holder at the back. I actually quite like this fingerprint scanner as well, which I'll get into. I quite like this phone, and I've decided I'm going to keep it myself for a number of reasons. One, that I need a phone, and the other is because I quite like it, but it still doesn't detract from the poor specification of it. So let's get started. 18.9 screen aspect ratio, which I like. Mini USB at the top, headphone jack. Not dual cameras, one is a fake. I'm not sure what these are. Is it dual, supposed to be dual flash? Certainly, if it is, I don't know, that's red here, so I'm not sure what that is. Cameras are nothing to write home about. Power, volume, and this is one of these phones which you can take off the back and get into the SIM card, etc. So I don't mind that either. What I like about this phone is, I'm trying not to get this overhead light, it comes pre-installed with a screensaver. So like most Mione phones, probably doesn't have any kind of really fancy hardened glass. This one has tap to wake, which I like, and it also has a face recognition, which in good light has worked all the time. In darker light, it doesn't work at all. So at least they tried. So you tap, then, and I'm going to, and there you go. It opened, no problem. So the screen, everything is pretty decent, but it's not even HD. I will, first of all, what I did was, what I'm doing with all of these phones these days is, of course, I'm downloading RAM Truth. And there you can see 1 GB. So it's not 3 GB, and it doesn't feel like even without RAM Truth, I would have been, suspicious that it was anywhere near 3 GB. It doesn't feel like it. Also, storage, let's see what it's saying here. I'm not sure about the storage. It is saying 32 GB, but it's not been identified as 32 GB on, let me see, which was it? Is it CPU Z? Where is it? CPU Z. Let me open it up, device. So CPU Z, if you can see here, internal storage 5, available 1.56. So I don't know. And you can see that it is the screen resolution is 960 times 480. So it's kind of HD, but not really. It's not 720, not 1280 by 720. So it's a real shame, because I think it's a nice phone. It feels nice. I mean, it's pretty basic here on, looking at it, but I like the black. I think it's looks pretty decent. Screen is let me see if I can just hold on, move this camera down a wee bit here. Yeah, sorry about that. So screen is pretty decent. Camera is pretty mediocre to poor. I actually think the front camera is better than the rear. But it's nothing to write home about at all. Here you go. So once you start zooming in, quite a bit of noise, shall we say, digital noise. So the camera is nothing special to write home about. As I say, I feel that the front camera is better than the rear camera. I did Antutu. Now for some reason I couldn't get Antutu to work with the 3D application part that it runs. I could get it to run separately, but I couldn't get it to run the way that it normally runs. So it's given me a score of 13,920. But I feel that it's probably because it's the exact same specs as nearly the last how many Mi1 phones that I've been reviewing. It's the exact same specs, very poor, very low, but I suspect that it's probably around 20, 21, something like that, 21,000. That's my suspicions, and the operation of the phone itself, to me, confirms that. So do not expect that you will be buying a high-spec phone, because Mi1, for whatever reasons, like to treat their customers like an idiot, and think that we are not intelligent enough that it's very easy for us to catch them out. So, I mean, why would they do it? Why would they do it? I'm just not understanding it at all. I know I rant and rave on about it, but for me, I'm just not understanding it at all. It is so easy to check. Word of mouth on these budget phones is so important that anybody. I mean, there's thousands of people watching my videos on the Mi1, so there's obviously an interest. Their packaging, all that kind of thing, is always pretty decent. They have nice accessories with them, and their phones feel really well built. The quality, everything just feels really good. Sorry, I closed it, so open it again. It's not the fastest Face ID, but it works. How it works, I'm not exactly sure, but anyway, it does work. So, yeah, I don't know. Mi1, somebody write on the comments why you like to treat your customers like idiots and think that we cannot find out. So basically, I cannot recommend this phone other than if you can live with a phone that is pretty low spec, but looks quite decent. But really, Mi1 need to start producing phones with the accurate spec, or what's their business model? Just producing phones that don't get sold because nobody wants to buy them. I just don't understand. There's plenty of budget phone makers in the market, certainly in the GCC, but around the world, that are producing half decent phones that the specification is actually what it says on the box. So again, Mi1, I really don't understand it. But having said that, I like it, and I'm just looking for a cheap phone to have as a second phone. it's, you know, so I'm just going to keep it. Now, the battery, I'm not even sure it's 3,800. I had it charged last night, and this morning when I woke up, I didn't plug it in, and this morning when I woke up, it was only had 15%. You know, so I'm not, I don't know. It was downloading some things, but really, whatever it was doing, it wasn't doing a lot that should be taxing it. So the battery is not the greatest either. Probably it's going to be, in my humble opinion, probably 6-7 hours, something like that, if you're using it with the internet. But I suppose for a budget phone, that's to be expected. Now, this came from souk.com, and it cost 375 riyal, so it's not cheap. And I think there's better phones on the market. Not I think, I know that there are better budget phones on the market. You know, please, if you're thinking about this, be aware of the poor specification, and that it's not going to be a speed demon by any standards. Let me try face again. Yeah, it worked. So if you like the face detection thing and this 18.9 aspect ratio, and can live with that poor specification, then, you know, yeah, definitely think about it. But I would, you know, there are cheaper phones on the market. Now, for me, again, I'm not understanding why they're bothering with I'm not sure what this phone's meant to look like. It's probably a copy of some other phone, but I can't think which one it is. Maybe Huawei, I'm not exactly sure. But why bother with this dual camera thing? It seems stupid to me. Save the money on the dummy camera and give me at least 1 GB more of RAM, please. Now, as for sorry about that overhead lie, let me see. It's saying Android 7, and there we go. Seems to be about right. Now, I use this app. It's called what's it called again? Processor Booster, which is a paid app, but it's not that expensive. Like I can't remember, maybe 5-6 riyal, something like that. And I think it makes a wee bit of a difference. The phone is relatively smooth. Basically, if you're doing rather basic kind of actions, then I don't think you're going to feel, you know, it's not going to feel terribly slow. But I think if you started trying to do a bit of multitasking, then you would certainly notice that the phone would lag. I decided to keep it because I will maybe review the phone that I'm actually filming this on, but of course I have a new daily driver, but it's not Android, hint, and I want an Android phone. I was using my Sharp phone for a while, but when I saw this, I said, let me just keep it. It will do, and especially when I want to watch anything from the iPlayer, which unfortunately has stopped, it says. Not sure why. What's wrong? BBC iPlayer has stopped. I don't know what that is. It's a bit of a pain, but anyway, that is one I will need to maybe reinstall that. One of the reasons why I chose this, just chose to keep it, is to just consume some media when I'm in my bed. Plastic back, of course, with I think it's a is a metal frame. Feels nice in the hand. Is, you know, just doesn't feel cheap at all. But of course, the most important thing is the specification, and if it doesn't have 32 GB of internal memory, then and it's very low memory, even if it's 16. Of course, you can put an SD card slot in, and there is one here, which you can easily put your SD card in, and increase that memory for your movies and stuff like that. It's good that they included the silicone. It gives you some protection. What else can one say about it? Really, it's difficult to say anymore. As I said, comes with a screensaver, charger and headphones along with this silicone. In the box, everything is feels really, pretty half premium, shall we say. So the fact that they're treating us this badly is just I don't know. I don't understand it at all. Why do it? I don't know. I like the 18.9 aspect ratio. This seems to be getting very common with a lot of companies doing it, and a lot of companies doing it relatively cheaply as well, with a higher resolution and higher specifications. So there's just not many people going to want to buy these. Now my suspicions is before I discovered that RAM Truth app, all of the Mi 1 phones that I have reviewed are probably all the exact same 1.3 processor, MTK processor, and probably 1 GB of RAM. That's my suspicions. I didn't know about that app until a few phones ago, but really, if you're looking at any of my videos on Mi 1, then buyer beware, because this is it seems to be Mi 1's ploy, is to completely lie about the specs, get you to buy it, and then, well, what can you do? I suppose you could return it, but I'm telling you now, if you want a half decent looking phone and can live with the specs, then any Mi 1 model that you fancy might be for you, and there's a number of them. It's just a shame because they're building decent phones and they're half decent looking. Of course, most of the phones are looking like other phones that are available, but they're not the only company doing that, so I don't think that is a big issue. The sound, the phone quality, call quality, yeah, it's alright, acceptable, tinny, and the sound coming from this one wee speaker at the bottom here is pretty crap, but you're not buying it for surround sound, so it does I suppose what it's meant to do on the box. So yeah, that's it. That's all I can say about the Mi 1 Hero 3. I will be reviewing the Mi 1 Hero 2 with similar comments. If anybody has any questions, of course I will do my best to answer them for you. That is it with the Mi 1, and please, if anybody from Mi 1 watches, do something about it, please. Look, I will give you a half decent review if you give us what do you call it, if you give us a proper spec, at least 2 GB of RAM. That's really the bare minimum that we want for Android. So Mi 1, come on. Now, as I said, I got this on souk.com, but it's probably cheaper if you look at 360 souk, but it might not be cheaper by much by the time you pay shipping, etc. But again, shop around, and you might save yourself some money. So yep, that's it. Mi 1 Hero 2, don't buy it unless you're happy to live with very low spec but decent looking phone. Okay, that's it. Bye.